Hey guys, welcome back to the Ghost and Friends YouTube channel. It's time for our Friday pregame show. It's Arkansas week. How's everybody feeling?
Good.
Peyton, you go first. Let's see what
No,
you have.
I always go first.
Hazel, you go first. Let's see what you have to say.
That's because she's a girl doesn't mean she needs to go first.
Exactly.
I always start with whoever I can see as the top right of my screen. So,
I feel all right. I'm a little nervous because of the bet you made. I feel like that probably made me a little bit more uneasy than I needed to be.
Why did you do that?
I have no idea what y'all are talking about.
The Billy Lucci shaved the head.
No idea what y'all are talking about. This is insane.
Anyway, so yeah, but I feel good. Just looking, I've looked more into the game, and I feel like Arkansas is going to need a lot to beat us. And we just have to not screw ourselves over. Arkansas's defense is opportunistic, but their secondary is very not good. I'll put it that way. They can force interceptions. I think they have 6 or 7 interceptions on the year or something like that, but they give up a lot of yards. They're not very good at tackling. I think I was listening to something earlier. They're like they're one of the worst teams in the country when it comes to giving up yards after the catch. So yeah, I think that Texas is in a good spot when it comes to putting football talent on the field. Texas is a great spot going into tomorrow.
All right. Peyton, you get last, okay? You didn't want to go first, Mr. Nash.
To basically sum up what Gage said in a more blunt way, more blunt manner, Arkansas is just straight ass. They're terrible on the pass defense. They can't I'm struggling to find the term off the top of my head for like guarding somebody, but it's like the equivalent of like saying of quarterback he couldn't hit water if he fell off a boat, right? Like these guys, they're just terrible, right? Let's just call it what it is, right? I'm sorry. These are all dudes that are going to go have great careers as insurance salesmen and whatever. You know, they're going to have nice professional careers with that Arkansas degree. But unless they decide to transfer somewhere else because they think that they're going to get something else better. But this is just a Sam Pittman team that if you look at Sam Pittman over the years, he started off really hot and it's just slowly gotten worse each year. And I think Texas is going to benefit from that this year.
Well said. You said the same thing you said on Sunday on in the post game show. You know, you haven't changed after a week.
No, I mean I've said the same since the very first time that I saw them first game 1. I was like, that team is ass.
Yep. No, I like it.
They're straight cheeks.
Real quick, Kyle, this is not purple. This is like a royal blue. Crappy computer.
He's a BYU fan today.
Mr. Austin, my man, appreciate you showing Texas some love. I know that's hard to do, but you guys hate the pigs too. I had 12 pars today, Matt. I'll let you guess what I shot in the comments. Just know that I had 12 pars, and so have fun with that one. Peyton, talk to us. How you feeling?
I'm feeling like a smidge more confident than our show on Sunday. What I say, like 9.2. I think I've gone down to like an 8. And the only reason why is because like I've been tuning into some other Razorbacks like shows and debriefs, etc. And they are extremely worried. Now I feel like they do play like the victim a lot. They always do. So I don't know how to feel about that, but just like tuning in, they're like, hopefully we have a good crowd and like hopefully people stay. And so I just think that if we get off to a hot start, there's no way they're going to come back.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, we had several weeks of really bad starts from Mississippi, or even not really ULM, but Mississippi State all the way through Vanderbilt, which obviously Florida was a lot different. I'll take that 35-0 first half every time. But yeah, I mean, I've tried to like play devil's advocate with myself this week because I was really confident Sunday on the post-game show when we went over the Florida game. Still, same way, you guys, Nash, Gage, y'all sounded pretty confident. I'm still leaning that way. I had Texas by 17 yesterday, I think, when I gave out that prediction, which I just ruined kind of our prediction, but most people have already seen it. But there's just not enough for Arkansas. I will say the few things Arkansas has going for them. Coming off a bye week, I do like your defensive coordinator, even though they might not have the defensive talent to match what he's wanting to do yet. But he is going to have it up. A tall task tomorrow dealing with the Texas pass offense. It does seem like Quinn's hitting his stride a little bit. I know the offensive line, kind of called out by everybody after Georgia and Vanderbilt. A lot of penalties, a lot of sacks. I feel good about it. Feel good about a hot start. I think that's imperative. So, but yeah, if Texas gets in trouble in this game, what happened? If Texas is, let's say, in a one-score game in the fourth quarter with Arkansas, what's kind of gone wrong so far through 3 quarters? Nash, start us off. We'll go reverse order.
I think it would have to be turnovers in the in short area to let Taylor Green just take advantage of being able to use his legs and score from not too far off. But I think that really I was thinking about paths to victory while you're saying that, and it's just for Arkansas. It's hard for me to find any, but if you're going to, I think it's the way that Steve Sarkisian's teams have been beat, which is, like I just said, turning the ball over, but then also running the ball and then holding the clock, taking time possession away, because that's the one thing that offensive teams. That's how you kill offensive teams is you just take the ball out of their hands. Look back to how Army beat Oklahoma a few years back when Baker Mayfield was I remember watching Baker Mayfield just standing on the sideline, pissed off, right? Wanting to get on the field. And then that in turn leads to frustration, which then, so that leads to a 3 and out. And then when you waste a possession, now okay, well, shit, we're not getting the ball back for another 5, 6, 7 minutes at least, right? That's a tenth of the game gone right there. And you do that too many times and you're going to find yourself in a hole really fast, just like we did versus Washington, just like we did versus Georgia. So I think that's really how it happens. I'm like I said it yesterday. I think that Arkansas, especially on offense, they have some really special football players on the team. They have some good players, but they're just not a good team, right? It's a great example of how individuals don't make up a team. And I have a hard time seeing a way that Arkansas can come out with a win outside of Texas. Basically, Texas is going to have to beat themselves.
Yep, I agree with you. What about you, Gage? We're in trouble. What happened?
I think that they pressured Quinn. Our offensive line fell apart, and they got sacks and forced him into some bad throws. And I think that Taylor Green had a couple of big launch touchdown plays. We didn't prevent big plays. They like to throw the ball downfield. So I would say we probably gave up a couple big touchdowns. And also that Taylor Green is completely free of any turnovers. And doesn't look likely. He's turned the ball over a lot. And so, I would say that it would really, Arkansas would get off to an early start and they would get a couple turnovers and the crowd would get real rowdy and everything would kind of collapse from there on out. But even though I do think it will be a close game early, I think that the composure of this Texas team will be strong enough to kind of withhold that, and they'll eventually pull away.
All right, Peyton, what do you say? If we're struggling, what are you blaming?
I'm not going to blame. I'm going to spin it around on what we need to do because I echo what they say. Obviously turnovers, obviously pressuring Quinn. Also just kind of what we need to do or what may not work out is we just need to connect with, I think our wide receivers are going to be huge this game. And I just think that we need to connect. Obviously, sorry, a little battery. Florida was not good at all, but there were moments where we just totally didn't connect. The ball was there. just wasn't perfect or caught, or Isaiah went on a weird route to the right, or was it communication? So I just hope that that's like fine-tuned. And I know we haven't talked about our players yet, but just in case I have to go to work, I'm stealing yours, Ghost, this week. And I think that Gunnar Helm is going to have the biggest game of the year tomorrow.
I like that, and we will get the game balls, but I definitely like that you're sharing
So
your.
I just think he's bigger, he's faster, and he's better than basically all
everyone that's ever played the game, in my opinion. Like, he is the GOAT. No, you can have your opinion. That's my opinion of Gunnar. I love Gunnar. What's up, CB? Thanks for being here, brother. I guess I have to address this. I had dinner with Billy the other night, and Billy seemed to have a lot of confidence in Arkansas. Okay, and he wasn't just like screaming like, "Hey, Texas is going to lose this game." I could sense some underlying confidence when we talked about the game. We never talked about a wager. We never once said anything. I felt so good about this game all week, as Nash has, and I just decided to tweet it. And if Billy had any issues, then
you can pull it up. I got the screen share right here.
How do I do that?
No, let's not give more legs to this.
That's fair. Fair.
Did he tell you why?
Like,
Did he give you a reason why he felt confident? I would like to know why.
No, he's not confident. He wants us to lose before College Station. He's not confident. He just wants a loss.
Yeah.
Billy's confidence, and like, that's my guy. I'm not like ragging on him. Everybody's entitled to their own football opinion, even if it's a bad one. But he said that he thought, Arkansas's defensive line might give our offensive line some concern. And, hey, to me, similar to Gage, if we lose this game or struggle in this game, and the offensive line probably gave up a lot of sacks, had a lot of penalties, and just didn't really block well in the run game. You're good, CB. I'm glad you brought it up so that we can irk Peyton a little bit. She texted me like as soon as she saw it, I'm assuming, and it's like, why did you do this?
I had it sent to me from multiple people, and I'm like, I am not his agent. Like,
well, I mean, we can work out a deal. I love what you do, and Fox is great. But yeah, I just then Gage, you text me sometime later in the evening, and you're like, I didn't even address yours. You're like, it's your fault if we lose. I was like, I had a lot of people say that, but yeah. So I posted the tweet. I feel good about Texas's chances. I'm also doing work in College Station for 2 months, and if I'm right down the road, so it would be convenient. Billy didn't seem to hate the idea, so but regardless, it's not happening. Texas is not. We're making bacon tomorrow. We're good, guys. Relax. This is hilarious, Josh. I don't know if I posted this once, but I'm posting it again because it's great. But yeah, Gage made a comment, giving up a few explosives. Arkansas, one of the top 5 teams in the country in explosive plays. If Texas were to be in trouble, they would have probably conceded a few plays on top of the offensive line, having a lot of struggles. I always love this reference. I call it Vietnam because my dad always called it Vietnam. So anytime anyone says it, I love it. But not this time. 11 o'clock kickoff. I think that helps a lot. But yeah, if Texas fell behind early, I'm talking like multiple scores early, that's the only time I might start to sweat a little bit, because I know that we're still talking about a path to victory that's probably by 1 score, maybe a 10 at most, even if we played really well. Hey, SEC Unfiltered checking in. The lock of the week. All right, we haven't had the gambling show on the podcast this week because we've been busy. Here it is. Quinn Ewers over 292.5. I think Arkansas might just score enough to make it easy for this to get there, because Texas is scoring. Texas is doing that. Quinn looks good. Offensive line is going to continue to play well. Sark he's taking this one personal, as I think a lot of people have kind of talked about. So, Matt, I'll definitely hit you up for lunch, my man. Appreciate you stopping in. Football Texas. All right, let's do offensive, defensive game balls. Peyton, you've already given us Gunnar Helm.
I'm going Wingo as my honorable mention.
You can't take all of what is it?
I'm taking all of them. Last week I took Silas, that I'm taking. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, fine.
No, you've already. You're good.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Gunnar Helm is my top, but Wingo is my honorable mention. God, defense. I don't know.
You're like everybody.
I just know they're gonna do so good, and I love Jahdae Barron, so I'm going to say him just because I love him.
Great pick. He'll be a part of this game. Arkansas is going to take chances down the field. Gage, offensive, defensive game ball. Who do you have?
Offensive MVP, I'm going to give it to Quinn because I think Quinn's going to go off. So I think Quinn's going to have a great game. I think it's going to start early, and we're going to be throwing the ball all over the field. So, and then defensively, I'm going to go Colin Simmons. I think that Colin Simmons is going to be able to get pressure, and I think he's going to get a forced fumble.
I like it. Would love to see it. Tell me your offensive game ball one more time. Sorry, I was reading through the comments.
Quinn.
Okay, yeah, I heard that. Okay. So far, we've got Gunnar Helm, Ryan Wingo, Kelvin Banks, Isaiah Bond. Who all did you say, Peyton? Who are the others?
I didn't say all of them.
I'm sorry. I love you.
I don't even know why I agree to do this every day because, like, I am on the clock for work.
No, you're the best, and you're the best. And like you said, you would never forget this. You love doing this, so remember that. Okay, when we make you or we annoy you on the show, just remember.
And I'm the only one out of us four that's going to the game. So
you're the catalyst, the nucleus. You are the glue to this entire operation.
Hey, I have my good reasons, and part of those involves not driving 12 hours. So
fair enough. I would be there if not for
work. Boy,
that would be a thing. Nash, offensive, defensive game balls. What do you got?
I'm gonna flip it to you. I want to hear yours first for once. I want yours being taken.
What an honor! Wow! That means a lot. Unfortunately, Gunnar Helm is out the window. But hey, I'm going to go with 26, Quintrey Wisner. I butchered this name right there. Trey Wisner is going to have a big game. I think we'll throw the ball to run the ball later, if that makes sense. So I think we soften them up, screen game, taking a couple shots down the field, maybe some more double moves like we saw last week with Florida. And then I think from maybe the mid-second quarter on, and it's just not going to be him, but I think we see him become a big part of this game. I'm going Trey Wisner, 125 total yards, 2 touchdowns in this game. That's why he's my offensive MVP. Defensive MVP, I'm going with Michael Taft, okay? I'm going to almost guarantee an interception for Michael Taft in this game. Like, I might look at the prop odds later on. I have, like I said, been busy. Haven't got to look at much this week. We haven't even done the gambling segment. Michael Taft is getting an interception. Okay, he's going to come up in the run game. He's going to make a couple of open field tackles on Taylon Green that really impress people. Okay, the stock's going up this weekend for Michael Taft. So yeah, Michael Taft defensively, and then offense, my man Trey Wisner. Who you got, Nash? Let me hear it.
I'm not gonna lie. I was regretting letting you go first because here's the deal. I'm just gonna go back to what I was originally gonna say. On defense, I got Andrew Makuba.
Yeah.
I just like for me, it's just like we got 3 of the Austin boys in here getting the defensive love. This just as an Austin kid that always wondered why we're not getting Austin players. Like watching good Austin football players go play elsewhere. It just like it's like what's happening? Like I understand that Dallas and Houston are recruiting hotbeds, but we need to at least keep the good Austin kids here. But so it's really not just nice as a Texas fan, but it's fun as like an Austin person to see the local talent, just absolutely balling out. Like you said, Michael Taft, I agree with all that and more. The Pat McAfee show, they do this little Ram truck segment. I think that he's going to get himself on that segment this week with a nice hit stick. Michael Taft's been laying the wood, but I got Andrew Makuba. I think he's gonna defend some passes. These guys, they're all. It's been pretty low chances for wide receivers to catch the football when targeting any of these starting defensive backs, and that includes not Malik Muhammad, Jelani McDonald, which is kills me because that's one of my favorite guys on the team. But Jelani McDonald, he the Texas defensive backs, Jalen Gilbo, they've been tackled. Not just this is the other thing, the explosive plays. To what Gage said earlier, it's really hard to see Arkansas getting explosive plays on Texas because this Texas team they tackle extremely well on the perimeter. The defensive backs, I've said it multiple times this year, they're just stop loss guys. As soon as a play starts to break open, they stop it immediately, and whatever losses happen, we're We're going to accept that, and we'll move on, and we'll just bend, don't break mentality. And then on offense, I'm going to stick with DeAndre Moore. I think last week he had a rough week. It was all game long. If you go back and watch very first play, he gets tackled and he's down, right? But the ball pops out. He was just loose. I just don't think he had. I don't know what it was mentally or whatever, but he was just loose with the football all day long. I think this week is like one of those weeks where he's just going to hit the jugs machine every day for practice, right? He's just like I know we talked a lot about Jared Gibson walking around with the football all week, high and tight, like Sark said. But
Yeah.
I think that this is one of those weeks where like kind of DeAndre Moore, he's got the mentality that you want, maturity wise. Like this is not a normal like true sophomore guy. This is, or is he true junior? I forget what he is now, but he's extremely mature for his age, and I think that he has the maturity to approach that in the off, not in the off week, but in the week leading up to Arkansas and bounce back. I'm expecting a huge game from him.
Well, guys, I love all the picks. Think I did a really good job. It's fun that we have a lot of options every single week. We know that a lot of people will be involved offensively. A lot of people on defense will make plays too. And touching on DeAndre Moore, if there is anything that DeAndre Moore has, other than great athletic ability, I think it's Sark's trust. I bet Sark goes to him early in this game. I bet he dials up one of the double moves we talked about a little earlier. I bet he lets DeAndre Moore make a play early in this game, and I bet he comes through and makes it for Texas. And yeah, I would love for you to be right because Demo, 118 yards, couple touchdowns, things get a little easier for the run game when everybody, because he's normally attacking downfield, when he's having
and good blocker too. He's
great.
like we talked. He's the most Whittington-esque guy on the team.
Yeah,
and also we are far better off when we get to watch DeAndre Moore celebrate touchdowns.
Absolutely,
like that is just fun. That's one of the fun things in life.
It is great celebrations. Even when he tricked me in the Mississippi State game, touchdown pass. I'm sitting kind of where I don't have
that was so clean, dude.
I thought he was hurt. I'm texting Gage. Gage just like, wow, great play by Dre. And I was like, dude, is he okay? Like, talk to me. Like, what's going on? He was like, oh, it's a celebration. It's like, cool. I was like stressing for like 4 or 5 minutes right there. Addressing a couple of the comments. If Amari gets in the game, I would love to see it because that means he's continuing to do things the right way. But it seems like he was in the doghouse for such a long time, and then he's not as good a run blocker as Juan Davis is. And so when we go with our 2 tight end sets or Gunner needs a spell, Juan Davis, I know, has a coach's trust. And so as far as being in the game, blocking sets, whether it be 11 personnel or 2 tight end sets, 12 personnel, that's a tough hill to climb. Now, obviously, he's a better route runner, better receiver, and so I would love to see him in there because he's a hard guy to match up with. And so hopefully things are still going well with him. Would love to see him on the field and having an impact because once again, that means he's continued to climb out of the doghouse right there. And then another good comment right here, Josh. We all know right here, Anthony Hill's been really good in this fight against mobile quarterbacks. He did miss a couple tackles in the Mississippi State game, and it kind of looks like he took that personal. Had a great week the week after with Oklahoma's Michael Hawkins. But, that's a great comment. We need Anthony Hill. If Anthony Hill plays well, there is almost no way that Arkansas has a big day offensively, assuming our secondary plays up to their normal standards.
And that's how you knew that what was it, Gabe Eicher or whatever for Oklahoma said that about Anthony Hill, saying he was the worst player on our front seven. And that's how you knew he had only watched the Mississippi State game because he did have a forgettable Mississippi State game. But it's like to call Anthony Hill of all the football players the worst, like that's the guy that you want to attack on a football field. Your coaching career ain't gonna last long.
Yeah, that's the thing. He didn't really look at much other tape, like you said. It was that one. No. I will say this: I gave Gabe a little bit of heck for that. He has a fantastic podcast with Teddy Lehman. For you guys that like, I like to watch it strictly because of the X's and O's, and they get really into scheme. And I started when they broke down the Texas and Oklahoma game. They do a really good job with that. I know we have a few random fans in here, different fan bases that just like to listen to ball talk. Teddy Lehman and Gabe Ackford do a really good job. And then also for you guys that saw on the Twitter timeline yesterday, Gabe's family had a pretty tragic event take place yesterday. I'll put him up in prayers. Give him a lot of heck because, yeah, he made a bad take, but nobody deserves what he's going through right now in the moment. So,
no, we're all people.
Yeah, absolutely. All human and all good time. And I was like, man, is he going to be upset with me for reaching out about this? Because I hope he knows everything I've said about Anthony Hill isn't jest. We're just having a good time. But, yeah, Anthony Hill's going to have to be a big part of it. This game's at 11 o'clock, Panther Posse. 11 a.m., buddy. You know what's not scary at night anymore? I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna make fun. I'm not gonna make fun of you.
Oh my
God! I'm not doing that. I like LSU. I like this guy too. He had to sing the Aggie War hymn on the channel. It's pretty funny for anybody that missed that and just wants some good comedy. Yeah, good comment here. Anthill again will be huge. Matt Golden on offense. I like that pick. CB, let me hear you. CB, I want your players of the game. Papa Kyle, I want your players of the game. Derek Bobo Gibson. Oh my gosh. Yeah, y'all drop your players or offensive game balls, defensive game ball, your predictions in the comments. Let's do scores. Peyton, do you want to go first here, or you want to go last? You go first. You're good. All right, let it rip.
I'm gonna go. Ooh. Okay, I know. I'm gonna go 35-10, Texas.
That's close to what I got.
I'm surprised.
I don't think they get more than 2 touchdowns. I don't think so. And I think we should score more, but I'm gonna go with 35-10.
I would love a 35-10 victory. It would be a really cool Saturday for me. We owe Arkansas. Gage, what you got, buddy?
I'm gonna go 42-6.
No touchdowns for Arkansas, or are they just behind by so much they're going for 2 there in the second half?
No touchdowns.
All right. 42-6. That would make it for a little better Saturday. Nash, you said Arkansas is ass. You said it for weeks. What's your take?
I think that it's – look, I earlier when you said that Sark is going to take this personally, I think that Texas fans have been saying that Sark is going to take a game personally for 3 years now, and not once has it ever happened. Sark does not give a shit about anything other than winning a national championship. He doesn't care about putting 60 on Arkansas. He doesn't care. All he cares about is winning the game. I think Texas gets to a point where we're ahead comfortably, and then very similar to the Florida game, because Florida, that was not a team that was worthy of scoring 17 points against Texas, but they did score 17 points. All that to say, I got 37-13. I got Taylon Green. Whether I think I put in a couple underdog picks. One is a Taylon Green rushing touchdown. The other's I think Taylon Green is either going to run it in or throw it to Armstrong, who's most targeted wide receiver in the SEC this year. And then I got 2 field goals. But outside of that, it's hard. It's hard for me to see teams scoring on this Texas defense. This defense, I'm going to sound like a broken record. This defense is as legit as it can get. It could maybe get a little bit better on the run defense. I mean, if I were to dream and have Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy on this team,
of course,
go send the trophy to DKR right now. Just go ahead and ship it off. Who gives a shit about playing the season?
Yeah, if you have last year's run defense and interior pass rush, combined with what we have right now, yeah, it'd be pretty.
Yeah, you could just spin Alfred Collins out on the edge and piss people off.
and he's playing so well. And
he was the 2 interceptions last week.
I don't think Billy will care if I divulge this information, but we're talking about hanging out with the draft. Wow, I can't think of the word. Just a draft analyst. I can't. He didn't tell me the name, but he told me a specific thing. But just somebody that is out scouting for the draft, and he said that he thought Alfred Collins was our best prospect, and so I was pleased to hear that because obviously he's made a big jump at the end of his career in Austin. Seems like a lot of our DTs that go through the program, they step up, make plays. It helps their really big bodies. Yeah,
He's Alfred Collins is fucking huge. Excuse my language, but like he's like wingspan, like that's always been the thing for Alfred Collins since day one. Dude, you got the NFL body. Just start playing like the NFL player. Like it was always about the consist. Like, and that was the thing that annoyed people. It wasn't about because like it's always like it's one of those things where if you're harping on somebody that doesn't have the ability, you're just an asshole, right? But if you're harping on somebody that has the ability, you just want them to you want better out of them, right?
yeah, right.
And you could see the better out of Alfred Collins.
Great
But
point.
then that would go away for 20 snaps. Then it would come back, and then it got lesser. Then that gap got lesser, and now it's just straight consistency.
Yeah.
And that's what the NFL wants. And it's always been. If he were to have played with this consistency the last 2 years, he wouldn't be on this roster right now.
Right. No, he'd be playing the day after Texas plays Arkansas. But no, it's great to have him a part of it. He's obviously played very well. I put on the timeline yesterday, Twitter timeline. I know we got some YouTube only guys in here. I got 34-17 Texas. I've had the vision. I've seen how it plays out. All right, I'm gonna give Arkansas an early field goal. They've had a bye week. They've been able to sit over there and scheme a little bit and have a drive ready, scripted and ready to have some cause or some effect on Texas's defense. They get a field goal early. Texas so offensively too much in the first half. Arkansas is chasing points the whole second half. I'm giving them a couple late or maybe a touchdown somewhere middle of the game and a late touchdown because we always seem to give up a very late touchdown. But I'm not nervous about this. I could come back and regret to say this. I've been very realistic on all of our takes and opinions throughout the year. All of us has, and this is just not a game that really concerns me. Like Nash said it, we would really have to beat ourselves here. Penalties, turnovers, giving up explosive plays to Arkansas. Make them go the length of the field, see if they can do that, and be as effective as they are when they're able to pick up those 20-plus yard plays, the explosive plays, all the chunk plays. I'm not concerned. And when I am this confident, that scares me. And so I've been trying to find a way. Should you be scared of this? And I don't have concern here. I think Texas takes care of business. I feel really good about it. You guys feel pretty good about it. Seems Peyton, you said you're down to 8.
I think I'm the most nervous out of everyone here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I'm
an 8.
I'd say
You're gaining confidence as you get closer, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, literally a point.
By the time you get there, you're going to be at a 4.5.
They just I just can't tell if they actually are nervous or they're just trying to play it down. Oh, we're not good. So I just
they're trying to play it down so that if we go in there and blast them, they can just be like, "See, we told you we're not good."
Yeah,
that's all they're going to do. And the same thing, if we do Texas A&M towards the end of the year, they're going to be like, "Well, it's year 1 of Mike Elko and it's year 4 of Sark. You're supposed to win this game." Everybody's got those excuses lined up. I've got to be ready. So
give me a couple good Quinn completions and I will be totally fine.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, a fast start. If we start fast and we get the Quinn we know is there, and the Quinn that seems to be healthier, seems to get have his confidence back. If we get that Quinn, then it's gonna be really hard for those guys, no doubt.
So here's the deal about Taylor Green, and if you look at his games, yeah, he has 5 rushing touchdowns. He's 11 passing touchdowns to 7 receptions. But and then also, like you say, he's a really good runner, right? If you look at the games versus ranked opponents, and let's just not count Oklahoma State because we know exactly that Oklahoma State is very far from being ranked. That was all preseason stuff. It's like Michigan. Number 24, Texas A&M. 1 touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. 56% completion percentage, 13 carries for 6 yards. Tennessee, 9 carries for -5 yards. LSU, 6 carries for -10 yards. Mississippi, Ole Miss, 10 carries for 16 yards. 0 touchdowns in those games. So really, it's been out of the 105 carries and 411 yards that most of that has been against games like UAPB. I don't even know what the hell that stands for. No, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff is what it stands for. University of Alabama Birmingham. Auburn, who's terrible. Mississippi State, who's terrible. Oklahoma State, who's terrible. That's where the majority of his not only production through the air, but production on the ground comes from. So I just, man, like you said, I hate that I feel confident. Like, because five of his 11 passing touchdowns came versus Mississippi State. It's just like I hate that I feel this confident, because anytime the last time I was feeling this confident truly was versus Georgia. But this is a different. But this is a different level of confidence.
I wasn't confident.
No, but this is a different level of confidence. Like that. Yeah. That was more. And this is the other thing. I felt that confidence because I felt like our defense was going to go out there and win the game, and I think our defense did exactly everything that I thought they were going to do. Right? Like we talked about how I was like, yeah, we're going to get that big Jahdae Barron pick. Right? That big Jahdae Barron pick did happen multiple times. It's just the offense didn't hold up their end of the bargain on that one, but. On both sides of the football for Arkansas, I'm trying to think of ways for Arkansas to win this game, and I'm coming up blank.
Dylan, if you're still watching, brother, what is the line at now?
It's like 12 and a half.
12 and a half on ESPN bet.
Okay. I would just assume that Taylon Green appears to be a lot healthier. He's going to be the engine to that team on Saturday, and if he is healthy and ready to go, he poses a big time threat at quarterback, and a completely different type of player than Carson Beck. Obviously, he can really hurt you with his feet. Now, this is a good question, Jeff. If we do start slow, I think they can. They have had a bye week, so they might throw a couple of wrinkles that we haven't seen, and that's their only chance of beating Texas is to get out to a hot start. So I think they're going to throw a lot at us early, trying to get us, or just trying to get up on us. They will take a shot early in this game. They probably have a couple of tricks to kind of out leverage Texas in the run game, little things like that, but. Texas will be ready. I mean, it's not like Florida really pushed us last week to where we had to play a 4-quarter game and just wear a lot of guys down. We got half the lineup or half the roster in. I think they were adding people out of the stands and vendors and from the band to get reps in the fourth quarter. Like, we were able to rest a lot of guys and mentally kind of shift focus to Arkansas a little earlier than you might if that was a close game. I think we'll be ready. I like our chances of starting fast, and that'll be huge. Can't have Quinn turn the ball over multiple times in the first quarter, okay, whether it's his fault or not, regardless. Fun question before we continue on. Who you got tonight?
Jake Paul.
Okay, I cannot.
Kyle.
So the funny thing is about this, I actually thought that Jake Paul, I've been like, man, Jake Paul's gonna look. It's a gimmick, right? But and it was also the whole Mike hasn't fought anybody, right? So it's like going and starting. It's like running a cross country race without having done any runs before, or just maybe you head to the local track a couple times, right? I think that I'm just getting this feeling that Mike is not. He's taking this serious. I don't know. I just get this feeling from it. Maybe it's Netflix is doing a great job promoting this fight, but I'm getting a feeling that this is serious, and this might be one of those FAFO moments where Jake Paul, if he just leaves himself open for too long versus the wrong guy, everybody's always made jokes about, saying Mike Tyson punches, right? That's been the whole thing. There's that saying, if you get punched in the face, right? Well, there's the saying about if you get punched in the face by Mike Tyson. Well, Jake Paul's going to find that out tonight, man. I mean, that's funny. The kid just going back and forth.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Love it so much.
And Gay, it's funny to watch Gay just trying to shove. It's like those cartoons when somebody's trying to push somebody out of frame or something.
Yeah,
so cute.
They're pulling the entire picture out of frame to a new scene.
I gotta go to work.
All right,
So who do you got?
Jake Paul or Mike Tyson?
Well, one, I'm in Dallas, and our station is covering it tonight. So I'm going to go. That's what I need to go do. Then TV at 9 p.m., flight to Fayetteville. We've got a busy day.
Go take a nap.
I'm going to go. I don't know. Wait, did Nash pick Jake Paul? Out of all that, I didn't really get
Mike Tyson.
Oh, I guess I'll go Jake Paul then.
Yeah, I'm picking Jake Paul.
Even though I don't like him.
I don't like him either, but
Mike Tyson
you like him more. You like him more than me.
Not doing it. Mike Tyson's not losing.
Yeah, I like Jake Paul more than that.
God,
that's a rough life right there.
And on that note, oh my God, poop color.
I love that.
Hey, ass. Yes.
Let me say this, Posse. Hey, Peyton, do you need to go?
I'm about to. It's a good time.
Oh, you're good. You can sleep whenever.
No, I need to go.
All right. Bye, Peyton.
Have fun. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye. I think you're going to have a really close game, man. I question your motivation after a couple of bad losses. Not bad losses, but, well, humiliating losses. I question if Brian Kelly can get those boys up ready to play. A Florida team with DJ Lagway feels like they're going to have a little more excitement to get into that game. So I do think Florida plays a really, really good one. Thank you for 12.5 there. Hey, man, I like the 12. I mean, I would have taken it at 14. So I can't believe it's down that much.
Hey, Ghost, hold on. Here's a question. I got a good question for you. What if this fight is rigged, right? Like, what if it is a scripted fight? But I know. Like, imagine Mike Tyson doing something scripted. That's the part that throws me off. But
only
imagine,
if it benefits him, right?
But hold on, no. But imagine if it was scripted, right? I could see Mike Tyson just going fuck that shit and just beating the shit out of Jake Paul mid fight, and then just don't care, don't just hearing that lisp after. I whooped his ass, he was talking too much, and just But I could see Mike Tyson if there was a script and it wasn't like the ending, the payment wasn't resulting on the ending, it wasn't hinging on the ending. I could see Mike Tyson just going completely off script and saying fuck this shit, fuck you.
Oh, dude, he's winning. I don't care. Mike Tyson is not coming back in.
I think he's gonna catch him off guard one lose.
There's no way he loses this fight. I haven't seen the odds on it. What are the odds? I'm sure
they're favoring. I mean, if you like Tyson,
I'm sure
I'd go put a bet. I'd go put a bet on. No, it's Paul.
Paul favorite?
Paul's favored. Yeah, everybody thinks this fight's scripted.
This isn't Vanderbilt. You are correct, Mr. Middleton. It is going to be a fun scene. I wish I could be there. I do wish it was at night just for the fans from Fayetteville. I mean, I know it makes the game a little scarier, but it's a great rivalry. I'm very happy to have the rivalry back. I once had a tweet. I don't know if you saw this, Mr. Ralston. I once had a tweet that got me a lot of backlash when I said that I care more about the Texas and Arkansas rivalry than I do the Texas and A&M rivalry. Now, I said this like 8 years ago, and I might have been trying to just rile up a particular Aggie, but man, a lot of Aggies saw that, and they were pretty mad.
No,
So.
they do not like it when you say that you hate somebody more than them, right? Like they want to be the number one hate. Like I remember being in the car with my mom, and like she was arguing with me for a good 45 minutes on how A&M is a bigger rival than Oklahoma, and I'm like, not really, but whatever.
I've heard some really good arguments lately for both. One of them being from you, and you talking about Oklahoma only being a rival in football.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? It makes a lot of sense. A&M is obviously a lot better of a baseball program at the moment. I mean, I shouldn't say obviously. Skip Johnson's got a good program, but it's not where A&M is. And it's not what A&M can be. Basketball, they've been fairly decent, but I mean, there was once a time growing up where, I mean, it was like 6, 7, 8 years in a row. A&M won the game every year at Reed Arena. Texas won the game every year at the Frank Irwin Center. Like that, to me, that feels like a rivalry. The home teams are taking care of their business. They split every year. mean, that's not knocking Oklahoma. Like, I hate Oklahoma 10 times more than I could ever hate Texas A&M. But I've heard some good arguments, is my point, and obviously it's all
Well,
perspective anyways, but go ahead.
so I guess to kind of like try and see to test this point, who won the last Texas versus Oklahoma basketball game?
Texas.
Do you remember the score?
Let me tell you
Do you
this.
remember if it was close or big?
That was a blowout.
Well, okay.
20
Well,
plus.
you are a diehard basketball fan, so this is kind of a
I'll
rough one
say
there.
this too about the rivalry is I feel like it is also geographic. I think that Longhorn fans here near where I live dislike Texas A&M a little bit more because they have to deal with them a little bit more. I
Right,
think when they're up in Dallas, they probably don't like Oklahoma a little bit more.
right.
But yeah, so I'll say that too. I think it does have to do a little bit geographically on where Longhorn fans live. But Austin wise, yeah, I mean, I can't stand Oklahoma, especially when it comes to football. I would say that Oklahoma is the must win on the schedule. I think that every game's must win, but Oklahoma was like, we need to beat Oklahoma. So yeah, that's my point of view on it. But going back to just this game with Arkansas, I think the other big reason I'm confident is I think the team understands. I think they saw what happened to Georgia after that second loss in the rankings, and I think that they understand like what's on the line. And you lose this game, your season's most likely, in my opinion, it's at a point where it's probably lost. Like you're gonna need a miracle to get into the college football playoff, as in you're gonna need other teams to lose. So just because Texas doesn't have the quality wins, so they can't afford to lose to in Arkansas. So I also think that they know what's on the line and is motivated as everybody is saying Arkansas, including myself, because they don't like us, is going to be. Texas is also going to be very motivated, and Sark's going to have them ready. So I think that's the other point. I think I'd be more worried if we were undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. You don't have a lot of mulligans left. I'm at the opinion of Texas is going to make the college football playoff at 10-2, no matter what happens. You lose to Arkansas, you beat A&M, well, all of a sudden you have a win over a top 15 Texas A&M team on the road.
If they're top 15 at that point,
right? I missed it.
It was going on in the background, man. It was
Background of Gage.
Gage, yeah.
Kids are awesome. But yeah, I think that and if we were to lose at A&M and have an SEC schedule of 6-2, I don't think that they're going to leave Texas out, and I don't think they would leave A&M out if they were to beat Texas and then lose in the SEC title game. It's not happening. 10-2 or better, they're getting in, but I don't want that to happen. I'd much rather just take care of Arkansas this weekend. Not very concerned here, really not, and I am definitely Mr. Goldenstein. I will say this, buddy. Like, already, you saw the Billy Lucci bet. You commented on the post. You want me to just like risk and lose it all, man? I can't do that to myself.
I will never do that. Ever.
The first time I ever heard the calling of the Hogs, so I went to like a College World Series qualifier. It was the Southwest Regional Championship, and it was Texas versus Arkansas. Winner goes to Williamsport. It was held in Waco, and it was like the fourth inning, 0-0 game, and this Arkansas kid hit a 2-run shot to left. And they all started the Pig Suey chant after that, and it went on for like 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, that was like 100 times worse. Yeah, Rags, this is what I was saying, buddy. I think Texas can lose to Arkansas, beat A&M, and get in the playoffs because we all of a sudden we have that top 15 around.
Well, and not only that, like with how wild the SEC tiebreakers are, all we need to do is be one of the teams that gets in. Like it sounds stupid as hell because you're gonna have a big hodgepodge of teams that are tied for with 2 losses to get into the SEC championship, and it's just gonna be the 2 teams that wind up getting in. Those are probably going to end up being the playoff teams, the teams in the college football playoff. It's going to be a really weird thing. But now, what if it's like what if it's a deal where it's like say Georgia. No, they'd have to beat Tennessee. Well, say it's Georgia, right? That gets in. Say they're the second team in the SEC championship, and the college football playoff sends them in, but they don't send Alabama in. Like, it's like, and Alabama's going to be sitting there going, well, what if the computer just chose us, right? Like, what if our opponents were just a little bit better conference wise than we were able to be the team in the SEC, the second team? But you get the whole thing.
But I think that also goes to my point is like, okay, say even if Texas
it gets really complicated,
and they go to A&M and they get a victory over
it's not
A&M,
guaranteed anymore, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed. Like you control your own destiny at this point. I don't believe you control your own destiny. If you lose this game, you can go 10-2 and don't make the SEC championship.
I don't know, man. Obviously, a lot has to shake out in the other conferences.
Yeah,
I would be
on the Big 12. Who wins the Big 12 and stuff like that? Will they let BYU run the table and lose in the Big 12 championship?
I was about to make a comment. I am going to be a massive Kansas Jayhawk fan this weekend.
Yeah.
I hate to say like SEC pride, that's not where this is going. But if you're a fan of football teams in the SEC, or even a couple of teams in the Big Ten, you need to be rooting for BYU to take a loss. And I like BYU fans. I've had a great time with them every time I've interacted with them. But hey, man, it is what it is. They would do the same thing if the shoe was on the other foot. BYU losing to Kansas would go ahead.
You need the Big 12 to be a one bid, and that kind of like puts the SEC in a special spot of this playoff where they could get 5 teams in, because the ACC is going to be a one bid league most likely, and then you go to the Big 12 and you got that concern of, okay, well, BYU's 1 loss is in the Big 12 championship. Are they going to put a 10-2 Texas with, say, their most quality win is against Texas A&M? Are they going to put them in? I don't know. It would be questionable at that point. I think the brand name would help us out a little bit, but you can't lose. You can't. In my opinion, you can't lose this game. You can't lose to any of these teams. You need that quality win at the end of the year. So we kind of need A&M to keep winning, because we need A&M to not have take another loss here, and then all of a sudden that win isn't as good either. So yeah, the way the schedule's shaken out, it sucks to say this, but like we just don't have a quality win on our schedule, and it's not really our fault, but that's just where we're at right now. And when it comes down to it, when you're gonna put quality wins up against each other, like, we're gonna come on the short end of the stick.
I'm not concerned with it, man. I'm really not. I think that is just standard college football media needing some storylines, needing some hype. They're going to get a lot of reaction from Texas fan. The interactions are crazy. 10-2 or better. We're getting in. Don't sweat it. I'm telling you, don't sweat it. Not even for a second. Nothing to worry about. They are not leaving at 10-2 Texas. This could be great content if you go back and clip this against me later on. 10-2 Texas. Even with a loss to A&M, with a best win being Vanderbilt, will not be left out of the college football playoff. It is that simple. It's not going to happen. You look back at Texas over the last 2 seasons and see the type of ascend they are. You talk about the ratings they bring, the ticket sales, plus they're obviously a damn good football program. Side bet is on, Rags. Let's do a round of golf here in Aggieland, campus course. We'll go see Donna and John. We'll go see them, say what's up, or we can go somewhere nicer too, because that course is I never know about the conditions, but it is. I hate playing that course. So
I think the big thing that made me nervous about it was seeing how far Georgia dropped after their second loss.
I think they lost though. They got whipped.
And here's the other thing:
offense, after being gift wrapped a touchdown to start the game, they got outscored 28-3 after the first 5 minutes.
Well, not only that, but it's like, this is where you heard some of the analysts talk about this back-to-back weeks with Texas. They talk about how they're talking about like the strength of schedule, and they're saying, well, obviously the committee is valuing the eye test for Texas more.
Yeah.
But that's the deal, is Georgia hasn't shown the eye test. That was part of my confidence going into the Georgia game. That was also part of like where it's like, you just shake your head and you go, yeah, Georgia, they got their 1 out of 10 on Texas this year, because that offensive line played completely different. They haven't played the same as they played versus Texas. The defense has not played the same. Like, they came out versus Ole Miss, and to Ghost's point, they came out to Ole Miss and they started Georgia started off like it was like it looked like okay, it was Georgia. Georgia just showed up to Ole Miss. Like they got that interception early. It looked like things were starting to roll Georgia, and then all of a sudden, Ole Miss, and then boom, the tidal wave hits, and it's just I just don't think Georgia's had that same eye test that Texas does. So I think that Georgia a 10-2 Georgia doesn't get the same benefit that a 10-2 Texas does.
I mean, I definitely understand why people are clowning on us about Georgia and the one really, really bad half of football.
No, it was 20 and a half. 20, was it 20? It was 20 to nothing.
It was 23. So we held them to a field goal there. Yeah, it's 23-0 at half, and then we did outscore them in the second half, which I'm not here for moral victories. It's not about that whatsoever. Obviously, it took a lot of drama and short fields for Texas to find their 15 points there. But for me, it's okay. A 12-team playoff, you're going to get a mulligan. Texas hasn't needed anywhere close to thinking about a mulligan with anyone else. They've bodied everybody else, and that's where, for me, I feel so confident. When you're winning games by a margin of 32 points per game against everyone outside of Georgia, and now, yes, Michigan is down, obviously. They still have talent on defense. Oklahoma still has talent on defense, but those offenses are so bad that we are paying maybe a little bit of a price for demolishing them. Okay, is that fair? I guess it's all about your perspective. But blowing out in the second half of Mississippi State after struggling a little bit early, blowing out Florida. Now, the thing is a Vanderbilt game because people call it. Some people call it a quality win, some people don't. But Texas let that game, as we've all broken down and talked about, we let it get away from us at the end, and we made a game that should have been 41-17 or 41-10 or whatever it was. We made it 27-24. And so for people that don't watch that game, and media has a lot going on, they're watching and looking at a lot of games, you see the score, you see the result, and you go by that result. And Texas was, the path to a blowout was quite clear that day. Texas just stepped out of line barely, and then next thing you know, a couple of really dumb penalties. And like you talked about, Nash, it was penalties, and
it was one play from being 31-17 immediately.
Yeah, and so and that's the thing, Matt. It's going to come down to our offensive line versus your defensive line at Kyle Field. That's to me, it's the biggest test that we have left, obviously, but it might be the biggest test that we've had all year because it's going to be a tough environment to play in. Obviously, we had Georgia at home, but the Texas offensive line goes without penalties. Quinn goes without turnovers. Not concerned at all this weekend. Guys, you got any parting words, any last thoughts or quotes or comments rather about Texas traveling to Arkansas this weekend?
I'll add on to what you said about Georgia. Because these are just not the same teams, right? Like you look at Georgia, they were struggling with Auburn. It was 10-14 in the second half, in the third, going halfway in the third quarter versus Auburn. They even you go and you look that they squeak out a 1-point win versus Kentucky, who's 1-6 in the SEC. Like these are just like they're like it's like you said, right? If you're one of these AP poll voters and you're just watching the end of games, okay, yeah, you don't know necessarily how the true margin of the victory. Just like Florida, if anybody watched that Florida game, quarters 1 through really all 4 quarters, but just quarters 1 through 3, right? And then you said, like, just cut it off right before Florida scores their first points. And you say Florida scores Florida. I'll bet you $100 Florida scores 17 points. That person's taking that. They're the easiest $100 I've ever made in my life. And it's one of those things where if you watch the game, you understand this. These are two completely separate teams. I think that's one thing that I like about the College Football Playoff Committee because they use the BCS number. They use all these same things that we've always used and always griped about for the past, ever since the year 2000, basically. But they're finally actually getting, and I know people complain about the athletic director presence and all that stuff, but I at least like the idea that we have football minds that are paying attention. Like, hey, these people are actually watching games. They're actually paying attention to things. Let's get the right teams in there. I like the path that we're headed down. It's far. I've always grown up. I always wondered why, like how there could be undefeated teams that don't win national championships. And then I realized I was like, when I was a teenager, I learned that the AP poll voted on the national champion. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
Huh? Like
I
this
mean,
is America, damn it! What are we talking about? Like
no, we
you
have
don't
the
have a tournament.
we have basically the computers deciding in the BCS poll, which did have a little bit of human input into it, but like that was a mess because multiple teams were left out and thought they deserved to get in. Teams left out of BCS games, etc.
If we had a 12 team BCF playoff or 18, if we had even had 4 teams on the BCF playoff, I don't think we'd ever have playoff expansion.
Yeah, fair. It might. I mean,
Because I think it was always the deal about those top 2 teams. That was always what it was about. I think that there would have been enough teams that were included with the 3 through 4 that they're like, because it was never about, oh, team 5 and 6 is the best team in the country. It was never about that. It actually started off very much like with the Texas year, where we have some stupid loss to Texas Tech. And because of some idiotic rule, Oklahoma gets to go to the conference championship game instead of us, even though we beat Oklahoma, which makes no fucking sense, right? And then we get to watch Oklahoma go lose a national championship
by the same amount of points that they lost to us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lose sleep over that. Now, at the same time, you got so dang hot at the end of the year, and then they blasted.
Well, a 4-team BCF playoff. We go and we probably win the national championship.
It'd have been fun, man. I would have loved to find out. Let me say this real quick, Mr. Miracle Martinez. Who do we need to lose?
Like just this weekend or overall?
We just need to win. We just need to win.
Everybody lose. Texas.
That's what I'm saying. We just need to win because if you lose, then you put yourself in hot water. You just need to win. But if I had to pick of those 2 teams this weekend, I would pick Alabama because if Tennessee wins this weekend, that pretty much eliminates Alabama and Georgia altogether.
Well, yeah, if Alabama loses, that's the 3rd conference loss, and what that does is that gives Texas a little bit of leeway.
3rd conference loss as well. So
that'll give Texas some leeway.
Alabama's not losing this weekend, guys.
I agree, but I'm just saying if I had to choose one out of the 2 this weekend, I would
they're
definitely.
Playing Oklahoma, right?
No, they play Mercer.
Oh, they're playing Mercer. Oh,
yeah.
Who's Oklahoma playing? Oh, nobody.
Oklahoma has a bye.
Oklahoma's going to lose the bye week.
I've got bye in a tight one, but yes, low scoring. I will say this: like they all have opportunities to lose. I would personally root for Tennessee to eliminate Georgia this weekend, as Gage just said. I don't think Nico is ready to go win a natty as a starting quarterback yet. He's going to be a fantastic player. He seems to have made some strides later in the season. But for me, let's get Georgia out of there. Let's get Kirby Smart, that defense. I don't want to see them again unless it's, you know what? I do want to see them again. I can't get over that.
I want to see Mr.
No, bro. Here's the deal.
I want to see them.
The pettiness in me wants to the safe Nash, right? That wants Texas to, be as sure as a 1 or 2 seed as possible, right? Just get that first playoff bye. That Nash wants to see Tennessee. The Nash over here on this shoulder of me is saying fuck Georgia. I watch those dogs barking. If we're playing Georgia, I actually I probably wasn't going to the SEC championship game, but I will go. Just so that when we win, I'll just sit there and I will bark at their face all damn day long.
Are they gonna move or something, right?
No. I'll bark. I'll be barking. I'll be like, where are them dogs at? Yeah.
Now here's the thing.
I want it back on Georgia so bad.
Now let's paint a hypothetical real quick in just a few more minutes here with you guys. Another guy with Football Texas wants Georgia one more time. Great question here. Or I think it's going to be a great question. Georgia loses to Tennessee, drops to 9-3. South Carolina wins out. There's room for a 9-3 team to get in. Who deserves to get in and who gets in?
Wait, you mean the SEC championship?
No, into the college football playoff. A 9-3 Georgia, a 9-3 South Carolina. There's one SEC at large spot left in the college football playoff. I know it's not an SEC, it's a specific spot, but it comes down to those two teams, those two resumes. I personally love South Carolina at the moment. Obviously, it helps watching what they did to Elko's Aggies a little bit. That was fun to watch. But also, I mean, I've loved watching Lenoris all year. Little shaky while he was hurt, just like Quinn was. But right now, it's hard. I'd be really hard pressed to say that South Carolina is not a top 12 team in the country. Like, I genuinely mean that.
I can actually agree with what you're saying right there, but I don't think a 3-loss SEC team is getting in.
No, it's not. But just a hypothetical. If there were,
hypothetical world,
argue Georgia versus
hypothetical world where the college football playoff says, you know what, fuck it, let's put in a 3-loss, right?
I mean, let me see the teams in front of South Carolina right here. Louisville in the college football playoff ranking. South Carolina would house Louisville. LSU, okay, LSU beat South Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
They also had a lot of things go their way, and they also had Lenore Sellers get hurt.
But we also know that they're going to value, because they did they did it ranking last year, at the end of last year, where they put Texas against Alabama. In my opinion, they're going to value that win no matter what.
Look, all I'm saying is I think if you have a scenario, right, where, say at the same time, right, you got Colorado. I understand you're doing a hypothetical question, but say you have Colorado win the Big 12, and that's BYU's one loss. One, it would be hilarious if South Carolina or Georgia with 3 losses was put in over BYU, because BYU would be like, where,
Right.
why did we move conferences, right? Like what was the entire gain in all of this? Two, I just don't see that happening. But if I will get behind you, and I will say, I think South Carolina is a top 12 team, and I think that in a hypothetical world where they do allow a 3-loss team to get in, I think South Carolina is one of those, because it's just like you said with South Carolina. If you go look at, I'm trying to pull up their schedule right now. Their losses. They have 27-3 at Ole Miss. They got ran in on them. Okay, a 2-point loss to Alabama, who is one of the top teams in the country, top 10 team. They have a 3-point loss to LSU. It's just like they're right there with these losses. So I can certainly see the argument for South Carolina being a top 12 team.
It's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but I think it comes down to the Clemson game. You both have a common opponent outside the conference, and South Carolina has to travel to Death Valley. So I think it would just depend on, how does South Carolina look in that game against Clemson? Do they go in there and kind of put it on Clemson? Is it a really close game? Obviously, if they lose, they're out. In Georgia played them at a neutral site, but it was in Atlanta. So that's kind of a home game for Georgia.
Well, but also look at the Kentucky game. Georgia played Kentucky very close, and these are both at Kentucky.
Yeah.
And
I think
South Carolina beat the ever-living crap out of them.
The big game is the Clemson game. Like, if South Carolina goes in there and handles business and beats them even by 10 points, I think at that point you look at South Carolina.
Well, but
okay,
here's where the only reason why I bring up the Kentucky game is because the Clemson game was on neutral field. That's a completely different thing than playing at South Carolina, at Clemson. And then also it's more of a rivalry for Clemson, South Carolina, than it is for Georgia. But I don't know. Like that's where I think that, and what my entire point was saying is, I think that, like, I agree with what you're saying too, but I just think it adds leeway. So where something that typically, like, South Carolina could win by, Clemson scores some points, they win by 17 points. I still think that could still be viewed as a more impressive victory than what Georgia did earlier in the year.
Yeah, I mean, completely different teams late in the season. That is more about who you are. Now, obviously, you have to go by your full body of work in the end. And so, yeah, they're not getting in over any one-loss teams. But I'm just saying a slew of 2-loss teams, I could see it. Maybe not SEC 2-loss teams. I'm looking north, maybe that a Penn State or potential Indiana, but it doesn't look like the Hoosiers are going to drop 2 games. I don't know. A lot to play play out, and excited, man. November continues to be pretty crazy in college football, but these next 2 weekends, you got rivalry week coming up. Madness is coming, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. But guys, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. All right, we're almost to 500 followers or 500 subscribers rather. Let's get to that soon. We have our 300 subscriber hamburger eating contest coming up within the next month. We do have plans for it. Just waiting for all of us to be able to get together and do it live. And then also throw a like on the video. Nash does a great job. Gage always does a great job. Peyton always is here having fun, doing great things. And so, yeah, all of you in the comments, really appreciate it. Y'all in the chat, make it a lot of fun. Keep us.
I see Peyton out there in the chat.
Really?
I'm joking.
Oh, okay. I got you. That's pretty funny, man. The self burns are my favorite. But yeah, guys, appreciate y'all doing this with me. A lot of fun. We all feel confident in a Longhorn victory. And with that being said, hook 'em horns, and we'll see you.